funny thing. Somebody said to me, you know that I could be in love with almost everyone. I think that people are the greatest one. And I will be alone again tonight, my dear.
Well, here we are. Another exciting episode, and it's more exciting than I thought it was going to be. Bloody hell! I thought you weren't coming. I thought I was going to have to do it by myself.
Mate, honestly, I mean, I'm my own worst enemy sometimes. I've been sitting here since like 3:30, getting all excited, and then with about 10 minutes to go, I decide that I want to do something, don't I? Which is typical me all over, right? Random wolf. And then I look at the thing, it's like 5:2, and then of course I can't log on, can I? Because I don't know, it's all gone crazy, isn't it? I don't know how to survive life sometimes. I really don't. It's what it is, isn't it?
Well, you know, it's all part of life's rich.
Like my feather, look at that.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Got that from Belfast, didn't
I? From Belfast.
Yeah, I was over there mixing a bit of business with pleasure last week. Yeah, it's great.
Nice.
Was it last week or the week before? I don't know. Time sort of stopped, really.
Yeah. I know.
Hello, Andrew.
I know the feeling. It's
my brother's in.
Yeah, twins.
Yeah.
I've got a fantastic screen grab of the two of you simultaneously on screen at the same time, consecutively, and you do look like twins. It's fantastic.
Yeah, but I'm better looking. I'm the younger one, aren't I? Have you noticed?
I couldn't possibly comment. Yeah, so this was hi Jackie. This was a very interesting week, and a very interesting time. So 1967. I mean, it's a bloody long time ago now, isn't it?
Summer of love.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know this is really sad. So I was planning to go to San Francisco in 2017 for the 50th anniversary of the Summer of Love.
Wow.
And in the end, I didn't, which I'm gutted about, because it's one of those things. I'm now sure I'm not the only one that had that idea. But yeah, so it was really interesting looking at the year. So Trumpton launched. Do you remember Trumpton when you were a little nipper?
Was that Foo Barney Magoo?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Italy supported the UK joining the EEC, as it was then.
Good old days.
The steel industry was nationalised. The Queen Elizabeth Hall was opened. Eurovision was sung by Sandy Shaw with Puppet on a String. Was run by her.
No shoes.
Yeah, exactly. The Criminal Law Act was passed, making major changes with effect from 1968 and decriminalising certain obsolete offences such as eavesdropping and being a common scold. And it was the first time, a court in Brighton, first time in England and in Wales, that a court decided a case by majority verdict rather than by unanimous verdict.
Really?
And Concord was unveiled. Good year for films. Cool Hand Luke, Casino Royale with David Niven, You Only Live Twice with Sean Connery, The Dirty Dozen, The Graduate, In the Heat of the Night, and Jungle Book all came out. Good year for books. Rosemary's Baby, Logan's Run, Where Eagles Dare, The Naked Ape, Picnic at Hanging Rock. And a good year for albums.
You tell me about it, man.
Oh, Are You Experienced? Disraeli Gear's Magical Mystery Tour, The Doors, Piper at the Gates of Dawn, The Velvet Underground, The Who, Sell Out, Something Else by the Kinks, Days of Future Past, Moody Blues, Nina Simone Sings the Blues, and My True Love, Joan Baez.
Classic year.
Yeah, so it was a fantastic year, and this has been a really interesting week of listening to this, because it's not a band that I'd even heard of, let alone heard, to the best of my knowledge, and they're really good, aren't they? Really, really good. Yeah. And a few times people had made comment, like music reviewers have made comment, such as, because these guys came from LA, and there were a load of other groups come out of LA, like
Doors.
Doors and whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, so how are the Doors successful and these guys not successful in the same way?
Do you want to hear story? So Love were the Trailblazers, right? And they were signed to I forget the label now. What's the label? I'll come to me in a minute. So they're signed to the label, and there's actually, I think it's either Arthur Lee or Brian McCann that actually recommended the Doors to the label. They took one look at the Doors, and what they did, they shifted all the budget that they were going to use to promote Love onto the Doors, because I think they thought that the Doors were more of a commercial safe bet, which they possibly were. I think the sad thing about it is, and Love got sort of pushed to one side. And I think the sad thing is, they didn't neglect, they got neglected. But I mean, if you listen to a couple of their earlier albums, they're good. Da Capo and the first Love album, they're good, and they've got some good tracks. But this thing is off the charts, in my opinion. It's off the charts. Yeah. It could be. It's certainly I mean, I don't know. It's Against Piper at the Gates of Dawn, which has always been one of my absolute favourite albums. But it half run it close, and there are days when it beats it, and it's like, I don't know. It's just, and what I love about it is much. So we're in the summer love. It's all hippy dippy and all of this and that. This is dark. This is dark. When you listen to the lyrics and you get into, and I mean, yeah, we'll cover some of the tracks, but yeah.
I mean, there's a good moral in this, isn't there? Which is, don't help other people.
Yeah.
Because actually these guys, I did like some of the Doors stuff, but I don't think it's any better than this, certainly.
No, it's worse. Look, Doors is all right. I love the Doors. I love LA Woman, and always loved it. I just think this is a deeper album. I just think this has got layers to it, and it's one of those LPs. I mean, it's been with me. It's funny. I discovered this. Basically, what happened, I used to go to when I was about 16, 17, started getting to pub rock. We had one of my mates had an older brother, and he used to take us to all these places and concerts and what have you. And we used to go to this place called the Plough and Harrow, which was somewhere in East London on a Sunday night. And there was this pub rock band who used to play there. And they used to play a track by Love. I didn't know it was a man called The Castle, which I think's on Da Capo. And I loved the track, and they did a good cover. And so I thought, I've got to track this down. And so I tracked it down, and I brought a Love compilation, right, which had the track on it, yeah. And I and on the compilation there were 5 tracks, the opening 5 tracks of Forever Changes. And I put this album on, and it was some good. But I come at these 5 tracks, and they were like, what? These are brilliant. These are and that album was with me for quite a while. It's quite a lot. A little bit after, quite a while. It's probably a couple, 2 or 3 years when I finally got hold of the album Forever Changed itself, and that was how I discovered Love. And one of my big regrets is I had the opportunity. Arthur Lee, he remained touring until not long before he died, and he came over to England to do a concert. I mean, it must have been, I don't know, 12, 14. It might have been 20 years. I know it's hazy now, isn't it? And a good friend of mine, a fellow guy that loves me, he's come on, let's go and see Arthur Lee. And I never did. And he didn't. He died not too long after that. And it was like, a couple of my absolute favourite, musicians that I've had chances to see and never took them. And it's like Little Feat were another one. I mean, blimey, thanks for missing out on Little Feat. Ridiculous.
Oh, Lowell George, just like
I know, slide guitar
people of all time. But it's funny that, isn't it? Because there were a few that I've been to see that I just like. Oh, I'm so glad I went to see them. So Prince, I saw him a number of times. And,
I said Prince.
But there are some that a mate of mine said, "Oh, I've got a couple of tickets going for Depeche Mode. Do you want to come and see them in concert?" And I didn't. And obviously, one of them died shortly afterwards. I didn't go and see George Michael. I could have done. I didn't go and see Queen. I could have done. I didn't go see Frank Sinatra when I was at college. Loads of people were spending all of their grants on going to see Frank Sinatra in concert because it was like a farewell tour. And I thought, no, he'll do another one. And he didn't. And it's like all of these things where you just think, that ship has sailed now. And it's incredibly sad, isn't it? Because the bands are never the same. I mean, I was lucky; I got to see the Eagles before Glenn Frey died.
Well, when they were good.
Well, they've never not been good, have they? Really?
Ha! No, that's true. Actually, that is true. I'll give you that. Was Joe Walsh with them?
Yeah, it was all of them. All of them.
You know what? You nearly got a Joe Walsh album off me. I was very close to doing "Smoker You Drink." I was very close.
I love him. I love him. He's
Joe Walsh is brilliant. Or maybe the James Gang. I was toying with that, or the James Gang Rides Again, which is no, we're talking about on my album collection now, aren't we?
Yeah. So reading about Love, it's quite interesting because it says that they were one of the first racially diverse American rock bands.
Yeah.
And the sound incorporated an eclectic range of styles, including garage, folk rock, and psychedelia. And it's really interesting, isn't it, listening to the album, because you would be in no doubt as to the decade that this came out. No doubt at all. Absolutely fantastic. So it was interesting that this wasn't a particularly successful album when it came out. In a retrospective review, AllMusic stated that despite the album's initial muted reception, years later it became recognized as one of the finest and most haunting albums to come out of the Summer of Love, calling it an album that heralds the last days of a golden age and anticipates the growing ugliness that would dominate the counterculture in 1968 and 1969. The 1979 edition of Rolling Stone Record Guide gave the album a rating of 5 stars out of 5, and it also received 5 stars in the 1983 edition of the guide. In the 1992 Guide 4 and a special issue of Mojo magazine, Forever Changes was ranked as the second greatest psychedelic album of all time.
What was number 1?
It doesn't say. In the 1996 issue, Mojo readers selected Forever Changes as number 11 on the 100 greatest albums ever made. Forever Changes was praised by a group of members of the House of Commons of the United Kingdom in 2002 as being one of the greatest
Boris.
of all time. Well, you would think not. So the album was indicted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2011, and the album was added to the National Recording Registry. Rolling Stone ranked it as number 180 in its 2020 list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. I mean, this is just staggeringly, universally well received and loved, isn't it?
It's amazing. I think maybe one of the reasons why it didn't kick at the start was because of the fact that it was painting a different picture, and everyone I think was maybe still hanging on to the message. I mean, look. The counterculture, it had some lovely stuff for it, and it's a shame that the real vision wasn't executed. It didn't stand a chance because you got human nature's always going to get in the way. But I think with this LP, it just dug below the surface, and it almost held a mirror up to the counterculture and said, "Hang on a minute, is it all about peace and love?" You're doing, because the weird thing about the count and all of that, because you see it and you see all the, the lovely stuff and Hate Ashby and all of that, and it all looks great and everyone's dropping acid with Timothy Leary and that. And it's fantastic. But while that's happening, there's all the other crap still going on, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that ain't disappeared. I mean, it'd be great if it all disappeared and the whole world was acting like it and everyone was peace and love and having a great time. But, so there's the thing, isn't it? There's the thing with it all.
Yeah, and that, I guess, that was simultaneously the greatest win and loss of the Summer of Love and that whole kind of San Francisco vibe. It was a holiday from reality.
It was. Yeah, it was.
And whether or not you were part of the swinging 60s in London and the scene that was going on here, or in America and the West Coast, I guess that it was a brief respite from what was going on in the world, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But it was still a very interesting time, and a part of Jim wishes I'd have been around there, but the other part of Jim says it's probably a good thing I wasn't.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So should we have a bit of music?
Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah, let's
do it. Alone Again, or so this was written by the guitarist Brian McLean as a tribute to his mother, who was a flamenco dancer, allegedly. So you can see that. So
Not just.
let's give it a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, said it's alright. I won't forget all the times I've waited patiently for you. And you do just what you choose to do. And I will be alone again tonight with you. I heard a funny thing. Somebody said to me, you know that I could be in love with almost everyone. I think that he.
So I'm reading about it's like generic stuff about the group, and it said the group was led by Arthur Lee. He had one number 33 American hit in 1966 with 7 and 7 Is, but they're most remembered for this song. Lee was sentenced to 12 years in jail in 1995 for shooting a neighbour who'd protested at the noise from Lee's stereo. And McLean left the band to join a Christian ministry.
Really?
I
mean that track. It's masterful craftsmanship, isn't it? You know, everything about it. You know, the blends and the lyric. You know, somebody said to me, I can be in love with almost anyone. I think people are the greatest fun. I mean, that is a real ironic statement to the summer of love. You can be in love with anyone. Yeah, but hang on a minute. it's just genius. I just think it's genius, complete genius.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and I love the fact that this is so stereotypical of the time. You know, it sounds like you're back in the 60s again.
Yeah,
and it so encapsulates that kind of mood, and I think that, you know, the more that we think about the summer of love and free love and all of that kind of painting flowers on your naked body and all of that.
I still do that.
Well, I know, I can see that from what you're wearing now. But I think all of that stuff, it kind of, to a certain extent, I think it's a lot of people living or exhibiting behaviors that they wish they really felt, rather than authentically it being them. You know,
absolutely.
There's an awful lot of stuff going on in that lifestyle, I imagine. So this song was featured in a number of different films, including being the very last thing that was played in the 2019 Netflix series Russian Doll.
Not seen that.
No, neither have I. And it says, most notably, this was in the 1996 films Bottle Rocket and Sleepers, neither of which I've
not seen that either.
No, but it, you know, it's great, and it's got.
Yeah, I agree, Andrew. I totally agree with that comment.
First time, right now.
Totally, it's timeless. Yeah. It's timeless. Great music always is. Great, real, true, great, authentic music transcends time completely.
Yeah. So track 2. This was inspired by the song "A House Is Not a Home," written by Burt Bacharach and Hal David. Apparently.
I didn't know
that. Given that Arthur Lee was a fan of their work, this features a descending and ascending psychedelic melody in a folk rock rhythm. Lee's vocal performance has been described as snarling. According to a friend, Lee got the line about blood mixing with mud turning grey from a Vietnam War veteran. Yeah, it's some heavy stuff, isn't it?
And it.
So here we go. A house is not a motel.
At my house 'cause I've got no shackles. You can come and look if you want to. Through the halls you'll see the mantles where the light shines dim all around you. And the streets are paved with gold. And if someone asks you, you can call my name. You're just a thought that someone somewhere somehow feels you should be here. And it's so for real to touch, to smell, to feel, to know where you are here. And the streets are paved with gold and it's...
I mean, again, the thing that you notice about this is how well the melody and lyrics fit together.
Just glue, don't they?
Yeah.
The glue.
I mean, so often what you hear is that the lyrics are contrived to fit with the melody or to fit with the rhythm of the song, where you kind of add in additional syllables and things to kind of stretch stuff out, or you kind of compress it. Whereas here, there's such a lovely meter to how he delivers the lyrics for this.
It's perfect. I love the guitar break at the end of this as well. There's not much guitar. There's not much guitar soloing on this, which is, I think a good thing. I don't mind guitar solos, and again, that was something else you see at the time. A lot of acid rock and San Francisco, it had guitar solos and Hendrixy and all of that stuff. Well, this, hasn't really got much of that. And I love a folk vibe. It's got a folk vibe to it as well. This, and it isn't, but it is. It's, I don't know. It's, to me, it's just got some sort of.
Yeah. So Treble magazine ranked this song as being the 13th best song of the 1960s, calling it an increasingly escalating series of apocalyptic visions sandwiched between folk rock plucks and fiery electric freakout.
Yeah, good. That's a really good decision. Good description. Yeah, because it's the folk vibe that I love. But it's got that sort of, I don't know, rhythm. I don't know the name. It's got do 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 do, and it's got the guitar, the choppy folky, and I don't know. Like you say, Adam, you're spot on. Everything just goes in to a complete sonic whole of genius.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's. I love the fact that it's simultaneously quite free form. They're not uptight when they're recording this. They're quite relaxed. You can tell that from kind of the vocal and the kind of the vibe of the thing. But it's clearly been rehearsed a lot.
Oh yeah,
really polished and really together.
So here's an interesting thing, right? So when they put this out together, the band were going for a really bad phase. They were sort of falling apart. So Liam McCarran, they actually went into the thing because obviously had this mapped out in their heads, and they just got a load of studio musicians and started playing. And the rest of the band came in, and it actually solidified the band again because the rest of them were like getting really worried they were going to get booted out because these two guys obviously had a strong vision. And they, well, okay, band, you can come with us or not, up to you. If not, we'll get a load of session musicians in. So
yeah, and it is interesting, isn't it, how that brings another dynamic? Because I've fairly recently watched Get Back, the Beatles documentary.
Oh, it's great. That
it's beautiful.
I love that.
But one of the things that really I found amazing was, the band obviously had a load of tensions in it, and they were recording in the studio in Bray or wherever it was. And they kept running through all of these different things, and they were not really getting anywhere. And then they decamped to the Apple headquarters in Savile Row, and Billy Preston, the keyboard player, and they're like, "Well, why don't you come and join us then?" And it was him that the whole band coalesced around and were a unit again for that album. And I think it's amazing, isn't it, how when you get a bit of fresh blood and some fresh kind of dynamics in
you need it. Sometimes you need it.
Yeah,
I need some fresh blood with me. It's only me. I'm getting fed up myself. I'm going to have a band argument soon.
Oh, you've got us, mate. You've got us. You have. So and more again. So this apparently was influenced by Adrula Manoa, who was a girlfriend at one time of both Arthur Lee and Brian McLean. So, and I'll never get that. I never ever get that. How it's like if we're best buddies in a band together, working all of the time together, and your girlfriend becomes my girlfriend, and my, it's like
now Now, I didn't know that. Now, I think this track is beautiful with a big white capital B. Now, it resonates even more with me. The way that's been written, well, things are going like that. You know, because these two guys, I mean, obviously, when you get two guys who can write like this together, and, you know, they've got a bond, haven't they? You know, they probably used to fight like cat and dog, you know what it's like. I mean, you know, I'm like that with my creative partner. You know, we say it as it is, and it's because that's how it is. And then you put a mix of a girlfriend in there, but then out of it comes this.
Yeah, beautiful.
And if you see and more again, then you will know and more again. For you can see you in her eyes. Then you feel your heart beating from bum bum bum.
Yeah, so music critic Matthew Greenwald of AllMusic said, and more again is another example of Albert Lee letting the song he was writing lead him rather than the other way around. It has a calm, infectious beauty, and is, in a word, mesmerizing.
It is. And the way they use that, I mean, you probably know it's better because your musical knowledge is better. But I don't know, they do say, then they go, da, 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 and they sort of going through, I don't know, a scale, there's a key, or there's something that, you know, I could probably come out of my head. I don't know what it's called because I don't know what half of it. I just make up what's going on.
And when you've given all you had, and everything still turns out bad, and all your secrets are your own, then you feel your heart beating from bum bum bum.
I'm not now. Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
I just love that. Dum dum. And it's right because the genius of that is, you know, obviously it's heart and sad, but all of a sudden it's a bit of hope. Oh, she loves me. And it comes back down again. I mean, honestly, sometimes, right, I listen to stuff like this and I think, why do I bother? Why do I bother? Because it is like light years away from anything I could ever get to. But the lovely thing about it, that's what drives me on. That's totally what drives me on.
I think that the thing that we often forget is that for people that are doing this is their job. And, you know, so they've been together for 8 years, 10 years, doing this 7 days a week, 10 hours a day, every single day, you know, and actually that's the thing, isn't it? You know, I'm a hack guitarist, but at the end of the day, if I stopped work and practiced 6 hours a day, every single day, I'd be a great deal less of a hack guitarist in a year's time.
I'd do this all day. I ain't come up with a masterpiece yet.
No, but you have, you know, and you do your videos about here's what I'm doing and here's how you do this. And it's like, I look at that and I just go, I have no idea how he's doing that. No idea how he's layering all these different things on and how he's using this beat and then loop. Oh, right, I'm going to loop this and then I'm going to start to insert this into it. And it is, you know, it's yeah. And you haven't been doing this full time for 20 years. You know, you've been dabbling in it, and it's only recently that you've started to think, right,
I have. Just don't tell me, boss.
But I think what's really interesting about this album is that this is another track that has cropped up on one of those. So the Rough Guidebook of Playlists, 5,000 songs you must download. Also, this is ranked number 564 in Dave Thompson's list of 1,000 songs that rock your world. And Rock Magazine listed this song on its 17 critics in their top 50 songs. You know, it's and Rumor ranked this as the 296th best song of all time. So I mean, this is quite a catalogue of
one after the other.
Of wow that this is building up, isn't it?
Great albums, though, isn't it? Great albums. You know, every track. That's what makes a genuine great album. You know, and there aren't that many of them at the end of the day. I mean, Pepper. You know, Pepper. There isn't a bad track on it, in my opinion, my humble. there really isn't. And other
Yeah.
other albums.
There's a few albums that are like that, aren't there? Rumours and
Rumours is another one. Every track,
yes,
Dark
Stop
Side,
Making
every
Sense.
track.
The Fat of the Land. There's a few, but a lot of albums have one or two tracks that are kind of padding in them,
Yeah,
even if it's a really good album.
yeah,
But yeah, this every track is good.
yeah.
So the Daily Planet. I've got a lot to say about this actually. I kept thinking, obviously for obvious reasons, Superman.
Yes, yeah. You would. Oh, my monitor's here. Hang on. Hello. Oh, it needs my phone. Sorry, it's all right. I've got a new monitor coming. I've got a new computer, haven't I?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've got a Mac Studio because I'm doing a lot of visual work at the moment with particle generators, and my computer's running out of power.
Well, it won't run out of power now, will it?
Well, no, I persuaded the financial director to let us invest. Hello, financial director. Sorry, audience.
As yesterday, the day before, and for it all is just a day like all the rest. So do your best with chewing gum, and it is oh so repetitious, waiting on the sun.
Thing is that's such a great opening line, isn't it? In the morning we arise and start the day the same old way as yesterday and the day before. And the day before, and all in all, it's just a day like all the rest. So do your best. It's just
Isn't it?
yeah, it's great because actually that's life for most of the time, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a wonderful track. I love the other thing I love with them. I think really great music. Someone taught me once when I was in early stuff doing this, said understand space and understand silence. That's where the real power of music lies. It's not what you play, it's what you don't play. And there's times in this album, like this track, it goes da, 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 and then it just drops, and then off it goes again. And it's just reset, and that just adds to the dynamic tension of it. The use of silence is a powerful tool. It really is.
Yeah. So I'm mindful of the fact that we're just about to start tracking.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna. Yeah, we'll have to do a part 2. Second side next week, folks. Come back next week.
Old Man.
That's me. They wrote that for me.
I once knew a man, been everywhere in the world. Gave me a tiny ivory bowl, said it would bring me good. Never believed it would until I have been loving you. Dear old man, he'd seen most everything. Gave me a piece of good advice, said it would do me well.
Yeah, lovely. Typical 1960s sitting in a field folk music type thing.
It's funny, when I was, because obviously, I give you my selection, then I'm playing. I thought, I wonder why I never make it. And this track, I thought, I bet he'll love the strings. I mean, the strings in this are just sort of, I mean, it's quite a sort of acoustic, but you got the strings that are coming in and out, and I like now it seems things are not so strange. I can do, and then it goes do 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 do. I mean, all audience watching, I beg you, please you, do everything. Get this album, put it on your turntables, live with it for a week. I promise you, it gets in there and there, and it will never ever leave you, ever ever ever. It will be your bestest friend.
Yeah, I mean, I have really enjoyed this. So on to the Red Telephone. This is another one that's crops up on again the list of 2000 songs for your MP3 player, and Italian rock magazine 17 critics and their top 50 songs. This is described as exquisite, one of the more engaging and interesting songs on Love's Forever Changes album. Ken Barnes called it bleakly philosophical and apocalyptic. Rolling Stone gave it a mixed review, calling it both excellent but having mediocre portions as well. Apparently, according to legend, the house that the members of Love lived in had a red telephone, although this isn't actually referenced in the song. So here we go, the Red Telephone.
Yeah, let's go.
Sitting on the hillside, watching all the people die. I feel much better on the other side of the I believe in magic. Why? Because it is so quick. I don't need power when I'm hypnotized. Look in my eyes. What are you seeing? I see. How do you feel? I feel real phony when my name is
Yeah, I mean,
goes here, there, and everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing that I like about this is that it's very endearing, isn't it?
And it just.
He's got a very sweet voice, and there's no pomposity to any of the lyrics or what's being said. It's just really. It's not particularly easily accessible because you have to give it a bit of time, don't you?
You do. That's exactly my message. I mean, the thing is today, talk about lyrics. Sitting on a hillside watching all the people die. I feel much better on the other side. I mean, come on. I mean, what's he doing? Contemplating suicide? That's the dark lyric.
Yeah.
I love dark. I've always loved dark in music. I love it. And I'm a happy chappy. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. So maybe the people would be the times or between Clark and Hilda.
Something or other.
Yeah, bit of a mouthful. Let's give it a burst.
What is happening and how have you been? Gotta go, but I'll see you again. And,
I mean, that could almost be the Smiths, couldn't it?
And it. Well, yeah. I mean,
30 years later.
Yeah, they might. I mean, they would probably listen to them as well. Again, I love the and the horns. When the horns come in, and I mean, and it's the fusion of everything, isn't it? That's the thing with this album. You've got all that, you've got these horns, and then you got a bit of folk, and then you got a bit of this, and then you got the wonderful lyrics, and then you just got. It's unique. This LP is unique.
Yeah, really. and it's very. Despite it's got all of these different elements, it's very unique, very coherent, isn't it?
And it hangs together. In a way, it shouldn't. In a way, it should fall apart. It should be a car crash. It's exactly the opposite.
The music is so loud, and then I fade into the crowds of people standing everywhere. Across the street, I'm at the slot buffet.
I think we can see a bit of that Burt Bacharach influence as well.
Yeah.
And here, they always play my songs. And me, I wonder if it's their games.
Yeah, great, and quite a nice upbeat. Although there are some dark lyrics in there, the way they're delivered is quite cheery and upbeat, which is a great counterpart to the next song, "Live and Let Die," with what is just the well, I mean, opening lyric for this song. Oh, the snot has caked on against my pants. It has turned into crystal. There's a bluebird sitting on a branch. I guess I'll take my pistol. I've got it in my hand because he's on my land. You know, it's.
I'm glad you picked up on that. I'm really. I mean,
making no prisoners. This is it.
Oh, I love talking to people that get it. I mean, what a statement.
Yeah, and I think that you know that's this kind of counterpoint that's going on, isn't it? You know, there's the kind of the happy clappy lovey bits. You know, oh, summer of love, let's have a hug, everything's bright and breezy, and then there's this, you know, suicide, murder. This, I mean, he talks about bluebird sitting on a branch, but clearly it's a metaphor for invasion and people in your land and stuff.
Absolutely, you know. Later on with the Indian reference, you know, it's just, I mean, that's when it ties it, and it just,
yeah. So here we go, "Live and Let Live."
Oh, the snot has against my pants.
Definitely.
It has turned into crystal. There's a bluebird sitting on a branch. I guess I'll take my pistol. I've got it in my hand because he's on my land. And so the story ended. You know it all so well. Oh, should you need, I'll tell you. Yes, I see you sitting on the couch. I recognize your artillery. I have seen you many times before. Once when I was in India and I was on my land. Why can't you understand?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite heartbreaking, really, isn't
it? And in a way, you know, it's a statement even for now. You know, what's it saying? You know, you know, live and let live. Yeah, but you don't, do you? You take and you do this and that. And the other thing with the track, you know, the opening line, you know, a bluebird. So you're conjuring up this sort of image. We all like birds, creatures. Yeah, but he's going to get a gun and he's going to shoot it. Yeah. And the weird thing about that is, you know, oh, yeah, don't kill the birds. Well, what about all the people that are dying? You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Genius, all the way.
So the good humour man, that's me.
He
sees everything like this. So the note I've got on this is despite all the probably intentional cliche hippie imagery of children, flowers, and merry-go-rounds, there's something pretty creepy about this song that I can't put my finger on. And there's I mean, I think that it starts off all very sweet, but then at the end there's that. Well, I'll talk about that before I move on to it. But there's a bit at the end which is. It's like oh shit, what have I done? I've pressed the wrong button, because it's all kind of like very, very strange. So here we go. The good humour man.
Hummingbirds on, why do they hum? Little girls wearing pigtails in the morning. In the morning, la da da, la da da da. Merry-go-rounds are going round all over the town in the morning, up in the morning, la da da, la da da da.
Brilliant.
And it.
But at the end, this happens, which is just. It's like it did make me sit up. I think I thought I was because I was sitting here playing it, and I thought, oh my god, I'm kind of going fast forward on the track.
You think you scratched your record, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you realise it's not a record.
Yeah, and which brings us on to a bummer in the summer. Now, this is really funny because I often find with stuff that is of a period or has some strong influences or has influenced other things that I find myself kind of listening to this and going, oh, it sounds just like. And I thought this had two definite bits at the start here. The first of which is Dylan's "Like a Rolling Stone," and the second is that. Do you remember there was an Italian singer who sang? I think the song was called "Prisen Colin Sinner Kinsuel," where he just sang nonsense, but it was nonsense he was singing, and he had no real words in it, but it sounded like it was an American rock and roll singer singing.
Oh no, never heard it.
Well, I'll see if I can reach it out.
Yeah, send it to me.
But this has got definite traces of that in it as well.
Well, I remember when you used to look so good, and I did everything that I possibly could for you. We used to ride around all over town, but they're putting you down for being around with me. But you can go ahead if you want to, cause I ain't got no papers on you. In the middle of the summer, I had a job in a plumber, just a blast full of fall. It was you who wanted to fall all day. I we were walking along, honey, hand in hand. I'm thinking of your mama when you're thinking of another man.
I don't believe anyone can listen to this and not tap their foot.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah. Really, really kind of cheery and upbeat, and it's got that kind of, because the lyrics are delivered so fast, it's almost like tripping over itself.
Yeah,
and it kind of makes you lean.
I hate saying to deliver lyrics like that, must it? I mean, but you know.
Yeah.
World first rapping. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a bit of that going on there.
It's got a spoken feel to it. Yeah. Good shout. Good shout.
Which brings us on to the last track on the album. It's a long one, isn't it? Nearly 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
It is described as a masterful blend of psychedelic rock and folk pop. In the lyrics, the album's themes are explored. One of the greatest examples of American songwriting, written and sung by Arthur Lee, You Set the Scene, beautifully explores change with reflections of doubt, acceptance, and curiosity.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Spot on. Absolutely spot on.
And you know, I think that one of the things that we often see when we do one of these shows is that there may be some really good tracks, but seldom is the album conceived as a whole. Yeah. So it ends that often it peters out, or it's, you know, side one is brilliant and side two is not so good. And this actually, you know, this is one of the best songs on the album, isn't it?
No, it's great. I mean, the album's been with me for years. I mean, when I first fired, how old was I? 18, 19, I don't know. Well, it's 50 years, ain't it? So it's a long time, isn't it?
No, you weren't even born when this came out, mate.
No, but I mean, me discovering it.
Oh, right, yeah.
No, I was born. I was born in 57. I was 11. I mean,
this was your formative years, wasn't it?
And I would probably been really heavily into the Beatles at 11. I mean, I'm trying to think when. I mean, I loved Walrus. I loved I really loved the weird. I didn't realise then that it was probably when I started getting a weird taste in music, because when the Walrus, I loved the Walrus. So I just loved it, and some of the weirdest when the Beatles started getting a bit weird and wacky, but it was still pop and accessible.
Yeah,
that would have been about the same time when Magical Mystery Tour. This was the same year as Magical Mystery Tour. Yeah, Walrus was around about that time, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And in fact, I think what's really interesting is that you're right. Some of this, the poppiness makes some of this stuff accessible. So when my son was little, like 5, 6, he was really into the Beatles, and he knew all of the Beatles songs, which is quite an achievement, seeing as there are so many of them.
Yeah.
And his favourite, he had 2 favourites, which were clearly his favourite above all else. And one of them was "I'm the Walrus," and the other one was "Help." So 2 extremes in terms of Beatles.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that the "I Am the Walrus" has such strong imagery in it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things of this time. Maybe it's kind of LSD led or lifestyle led or whatever, but often these songs, and this album is a good example of that.
I'll see what I'd like to see AI. Sorry, I was talking over you there. I'd like to see AI generated music come up with this sort of stuff. It'll never happen.
No.
Everyone says, "Oh yeah, I'll get this," but it'll never, because you just can't. You can't. This album, Beatles, all of this stuff. It's just such a blend of different things, and they go off in places. I'm not knocking AI music. Anyone who wants it, they can have it.
Yeah, but it's, as somebody once said, I don't want AI to do my photographs and write my poetry and read my books for me, so I get more time to do the washing up. I want AI to do the washing up. So
That's a brilliant way of putting it.
And that's the point, isn't it? It's like people do this AI stuff, and I saw a fantastic quote from somebody that I feel really encapsulates it, which is, why would I bother to read something you couldn't be bothered to write?
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I think all of these technologies have a place, but I think that often the challenge is that people are lazy, and it forms a substitute for actually doing work and getting good at something. And anyway, here we go.
Yeah, let's go. We're running out of time, aren't we?
Where are you walking? I've seen you walking. Have you been there before? Walk down your doorsteps, you'll take some more steps. What did you take them for? There's a private in my boat, and he wears this instead of medals on his coat. There's a chicken in my nest, and she won't play until I've given her my best. At her request, she asks for nothing. You get nothing in return. If you want, she brings you water. If you don't, then you will burn.
Yeah, fantastic.
Bass is wonderful now, isn't it? That sort of chugs it all along.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a really good week exploring something that was totally unknown to me.
My job is done.
Yeah. but you've brought over the months, you've brought a number of albums that are like, even the stuff that I kind of knew, I was looking at it with fresh eyes. So this has been a real high point, I think, for me.
Oh, it's great. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, very much so, and I hope everyone in the audience did. We've not got a huge amount of time. I was just about to say that. So Eric says it'd be like Monty Python now for something completely different. Next week, Eric and I are doing Sister Sledge. We Are Family. So
wicked! I love Sister Sledge.
Album. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we are family. I got all my sisters and me. Oh,
yeah. I mean, I can't wait.
Yeah, that's a vibe.
Brilliant.
Give it up.
But this has been a mega week. So Jim, thank you. Everyone in the audience,
always a pleasure.
Thank you, and
thanks for joining us.
See you all next week, and until then, have a great weekend, and first day of June tomorrow. So I hope everyone has nice weather.
And I'm off to the States in a week's time.